Live.
Live once again.
So we actually do have some more fancy equipment coming, but right now all we have is 2 microphones.
That's okay. We'll just share like this. I like it.
Yeah. So normally what I do is I go like this, and then I'll just kind of like.
Yeah. Fancy stuff.
It's kind of like a sweet, endearing time on the podcast. Yeah, it might be easier if you like scooch in a little bit. You know?
Let's get tight.
For sure.
Personal space.
All right. Well, welcome everybody.
Welcome, CoDream podcast. This is, I don't know if you guys know, but I had the opportunity to title this. I was in charge of the titling, and I chose the title Aaron and the Tsunami
Wow.
for a reason. Because Aaron, you have a story for us. We would love to hear it.
We're just starting there. We're starting from the.
Should we give a little context?
Tiny bit of context probably is necessary. Yeah.
Could be nice.
So we took the boat out. How many days ago? 6 days ago?
6 days.
6 days ago. We took Aza's boat out and we boated all the way to Callao, which is extremely remote beach. You can only get there by boat or by hiking 11 miles it's like the fourth most dangerous hike in the world, the Callao Trail.
Oh, yeah.
But it is beautiful. But we got there and we dropped Aaron off in the wilderness with his backpack, and we tossed him a life straw from the boat.
Oh yeah. We realized moment. Let's talk about that moment.
We realized he had no water. Like, Aaron gonna survive out there in the wilderness. So we got a life straw and we took it and we just
I noticed it last second. I was like, oh my god, there's a life straw. We called him over to the boat and just threw it in the water. He swam out and got this life straw. He's like, thanks guys, I'm gonna live now.
That was clutch, guys. I'm not gonna lie. That
Did you use it? Did you end up using it?
Did. Yeah.
Sick.
It really helped a lot. Water was an issue. Who knew that you actually have to drink liters of water per day when you're outside in the sun all day? I never knew that until I was out there.
Yeah.
And that straw was absolutely fantastic. So clutch moment by Aza.
Sick.
Thank you very much for that.
Sick. So we dropped off Aaron in the wilderness with a life straw in the backpack, and
because he wanted to.
Because he wanted.
This was consensual. He very much was like this. He kind of Where were you at? Or what? Yeah. Do you want to talk about the headspace you were?
Yeah, for sure. I've had a lot of time to think these past few days, and yet I still can't really verbalize everything super well, I must say. But I think I was at a headspace where I really wanted space and some time to really think through my life and the universe in a way, I guess. And then Aza here mentioned this 12-mile hike into the middle of nowhere where I could just live semi-alone, I guess. And it really tickled my brain in the right way. And I was thinking about it for days and days. And then it just felt right. It felt like I wanted to go there and just live off the land in a way and just get rained on, get poured on, whatever, just kind of be part of that and step away from kind of the busier life that I think we're all in a sort of way. So I wanted it. I consented to being in the middle of nowhere for 6 days.
Yeah, humans have a surprising tolerance for things. I didn't know that.
For things everything.
Yeah, you can get poured on. You can get uncomfortable things we can tolerate, and we can survive.
We can
survive. Yeah,
it's weird how it kind of feels good. I don't know, being in the elements and
yeah.
Because I did for the record get poured on for many hours straight. I forgot a tarp, which was unfortunate. So my first night was very wet.
Okay. Because I got back from a Callao trip a little bit ago, and I was like, what's a way that I could have a really lightweight kind of rainproof solution? And ChatGPT was like, you need a bivy sack, and I was like, all right. So, but I hadn't really used the bivy sacks in the rain, so this is actually great. You're gonna be probably even better than ChatGPT. How was it? How did it hold up in the rain? Should I have gotten the more waterproof version? Yeah, tell me about it.
I really appreciate you letting me use it for starters. That was great. It wasn't the most waterproof, in part just because with nothing above my head, when it rained, the water would just go straight into the head hole. So I don't really know how waterproof the rest of it was, but it was nice. It was like a little faucet. It would come in right by my head, and then it would just pool by my toes and on my butt.
So maybe that was actually proving that it was kind of waterproof, like the fabric, like the fact that it was making pools
Yeah.
kind of shows that it like was working, like maybe
That
not
makes
as intended.
That makes absolute sense. And it's just my bad. The baby sack, I'm sure, would do its job under normal circumstances with a tarp above your head.
Were you in a hammock?
I was in a hammock, and just the sky. Actually, no, I went under some trees. I was like, this is a great idea. If I go under a canopy, the rain's just gonna like part around me like I'm Moses. And it just chose not to do that. But just getting back to topic, I sort of enjoyed it. It was a nice few hours. It eventually stopped, and it was just like a cool experience to go through and something different. So
Sick. I'm glad you liked it, dude.
thank you.
But we dropped you off
Hmm.
in the wilderness, and not even 2 days afterwards, we dropped him off at Call and Tsunami. Wait, was it 2 days or 3 days?
Second day.
Second day, we got like tsunami warning alerts. Everyone's phone starts like blaring, sirens start blaring, and people are freaking out. People coming from Honolulu, like tsunami's gonna hit North Shore of Kauai. And what else on North Shore? Call out, I think. Wait, no, Northwest Shore. And so we were freaking out about Aaron. And yeah, do you want to go through like how you found out about it on the beach?
All right, guys. This is traumatic stuff. But no, so I was just living my life. This is day 2. I'd already gone through some adventures that we can go through later at this point. And I was just chilling alone on the beach. And this old man, probably like 60 or 70, I don't really know how he got there, but he was a trooper, I guess. He came up to me with this little device that gets satellite. I don't know what it was called.
red?
It was not red. It was like black and super small and had satellite. And it was super cool, but he didn't know how to use it. So long story short, his wife had sent him a message saying, there's a big tsunami coming for you. Like, are you okay? And he didn't choose to tell me that information. He just wanted me to respond to his wife because he couldn't figure out how to like click the buttons. So he just said, hey, you look like you're a tech savvy kid. Can you just say, yes, I'm okay? So I did. I responded, yes, I'm okay. And in the process, I saw this big tsunami that was coming towards me rapidly. And that was really the start of it, because then I started telling the people around us, and then everyone started telling everyone. And then like a big plane flew probably like 10 meters above the water, just right across the beach, sirens blaring, like super, super loud, which was a good Kickstarter that the tsunami might be real. So then we all packed up really fast and evacuated, climbed this big hill, and it was just a crazy experience, honestly. It was kind of cool in a way. Like I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah,
That might have been my best day while camping. Like I enjoyed it the most.
Wow.
Did it really like bring people together?
Oh, so much. Like in a movie, like
Imagine.
you see, like this is the group that like I'll be doing the apocalypse with or whatever. And I think that's how we all felt. Like this would be the group that will survive the tsunami with. So we declared a group leader.
No way.
No way.
No way.
What?
Yeah, there's this guy. His name was Mitch, and he was like 30 something. He was a great dude. And he came out from the start. He was like, guys, I watched a tsunami documentary once, and I think I know what's going on. And we trusted that. We were like, all right, you're tsunami guy. You know things about tsunamis. So that was our group leader. And then we went to the top of this hill. Group leader was discussing with his pawns about what was going on. And the rest of us were splitting off into like little subsections, like it was high school again. So there was like the smokers, and then there's the people playing card games, and then there's the people like drawing. Some people were like really scared in the corner. It was just a really like interesting micro sphere of our like current world. And it really brought us together. I don't know. I met this like lesbian couple. They were super chill. I joined the stoner group for a second just to say hi. Like honestly, I made the best friends just because of that day. That really brought us together for sure. Good times. Just thinking back, I have a big smile. Like it was sick. Oh my god! And there was a pet cat. This stray cat was just like floating around.
You guys had a mascot?
We had a mascot. He was a stray cat, and I guess he just like wanted food, but he was super duper scared. But over the course of the night, we kept feeding him like a little bit of chicken or whatever, and then eventually he would just like sit on your lap. Like we fully domesticated this cat over the course of 3 hours. So then we had our group leader, we had our mascot, everyone was chilling, and I think collectively that got us through the night.
It was kind of freaky to be on our end. Not like that freaky, but you were like kind of our primary concern.
Mm.
Because Anna like was looking at maps, and basically the way that the wave was coming, or that the tsunami, like if you basically look at a map of where the wave was going to hit, it like the area that I was going to hit the absolute worst, like in all of our heads are like, okay, there's going to be like this 30-foot wall of water, 50-foot wall of water, and the area that it's going to hit first and strongest is Kalalau Beach. And we're just like, oh God, like this is so, like I definitely should have given him some like small black device. Messaged him. Yeah, it was a little gnarly. But then I guess you eventually got a message out, but it was more of a am I gonna die message that you're just sending to different people. Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, this is really interesting because I just didn't really know the side, like your side of the story, or what was going on. I guess in my mind, there was another tsunami a couple of weeks ago, a warning, and then it kind of flew by and everything was okay. So I took on that attitude. I was like, it's probably going to be fine. And I was just like chilling about it. But pretty much after the hill, after we'd all bonded over this, the cats, and we were doing our thing, this helicopter flew by and he gave us a thumbs up. That was all. Like, it was just thumbs up. And I think a lot of them didn't know how to take it. Some people thought he meant like, go up, go higher. Or some people, it was a really ambiguous message. I thought it was, it really sent a lot of confusion. Like, we had bonded, but then this message was like tearing people back into their groups.
The owners are just smoking the
a lot of Za was smoked for sure by that group. But I just sort of went on my own. I was like, guys, that's clearly a sign that it's okay. He's not going to give us a thumbs up and like smile if it's going horrendously. Like, there's just no way they're trained for that. So I took my prerogative and I was like, okay, I'm just going back to the camp and I'm just gonna sleep there.
What time was it?
Probably 7:30 or something.
Okay.
So we'd just been told it was probably okay, but no one believed it. There was still a little bit of light out, and I just didn't want to reset up my camp in the dark. That was kind of my main reasoning. So I hiked back down solo. I really thought people would follow me, and I thought they were looking for like the first one to go back, and then everyone would go. So I went. I was going to be that first step. I went. I set up camp. I made fire. I was like, all right, everyone's going to come back to this big fire. It's going to be great. But then no one came back, which was a little disconcerting for sure. Especially as night, like, just, it was now pitch black, completely night. I can't see anything. I just hear these big crashing waves. And no one's back except me. So then I start to think, like, maybe they got some extra intel that I didn't get. Is the tsunami just delayed? Is it still coming? But I chose to come back. I can't step back on my decision. This is an ego thing at this point. I decided it's going to be okay, so I'm going to stick it out. So I stayed on the beach and watch the stars for a little bit. Then I got a little bit scared. So I sent a message to everyone on the island, like through the little SOS system that the phone has. So I sent one to Isa and you as well. Literally everyone saying like, am I gonna die? Like what's going on here? I can only be like so confident off this one ambiguous hand signal. Like, what's going on here? I just wanted like a little bit of affirmation, so I could like try to sleep peacefully that night. And thankfully, Asa, you pulled through. You sent a message saying like, you're probably going to be fine. Just like sleep a little higher up, And that actually comforted me a lot because I was sort of tweaking out.
But you didn't sleep higher up.
No. I think a part of me was kind of interested as to what would happen if like a tsunami kind of hit me, like, do I have what it takes to survive? So deep down, I just like, I stayed there and I let the course of things be. But as I was sleeping, every time like a big wave would crash, because I was super near the beach, like I could hear every wave, I would wake up like fight or flight instantly, just like panicked, like super on edge. And there was this one really big wave. I remember it. It was probably 3 or 4 a.m. I don't know. It crashed so hard and so loud and so long. And in the dark, I can't really see what's going on, but I swear I saw it like coming towards me, like over the beach.
Oh my God.
I guess I tricked myself to think that. So I just like, I yelled like really loud. Like I just screamed, fuck, fuck or whatever. And it was quite the way to wake up. wasn't my best night of sleep.
Wow.
Jeez,
For sure, but that's a first. Can't say that's ever happened.
Wow. That's such an incredible story.
that's an insane story.
You're gonna be able to like tell your grandkids that story. I feel
Yeah.
like that's insane. And I guess for people that don't know, like there was a tsunami warning. People thought it was going to get really gnarly. I actually, so to give you a little context around what happened here, people were like out here working out. It was kind of this like sunny, idyllic moment. We kind of knew that the tsunami was coming. I'd told everyone that we were high enough and we were going to be fine here. But then I watched this video of the waves that were hitting Japan, and I was like, man, and they were kind of big waves. And I was like, man, if this is what's about to hit Honolulu and like this whole zone, like we shouldn't just be like hanging out here and just like chilling. Like we should prepare to help kind of. And so we like scrambled a drone into the sky and like got radios ready. Ruchi was calling people to be like, hey, because they were setting up evacuation centers and whatnot. And so we just like wanted people to know that we had some extra space and whatnot. Yeah. I went down and towards Kalihiwai and was on the cliff and actually watched. And it did actually come. Like there was, And so, what I saw was basically over the course of, and it was a little bit after it was predicted. So it was predicted for, I think, 7:10 or something. And so it was more like 7:25 or something. And basically it started sucking out. So I was up over Kalihiwai Bay. It started sucking out the river. You could see it started going, and because the sea was dropping. And so the river started sucking out really hard. Like if you were in that river, you would have gotten sucked out to the sea kind of deal. And it was sucking out really hard. It got really low tide everywhere. Like these trees that were normally submerged would like, you could like see the bottom of them. And then over the course of like 3 or 4 minutes, it like kind of came back in and like probably a little bit higher than it normally is, but it wasn't like a serious wave. So it was definitely underwhelming. But obviously so good.
So good.
Yeah, so glad. Like it would have been so devastating. Yeah.
Just to put that out there. We don't want this now.
We don't want it. There were definitely yeah.
On my end, it was kind of insane because we had all the people at the property kind of all the girls especially were freaking out. And Chio had packed up all her things along with a few other girls, and they were going to evacuate to the mountains. They were going to go all the way down south and evacuate to the mountains to get to as high as possible. And they were freaking out. And then Asa was like, kind of came here with this like rational energy and communicated to us that we're gonna be okay. And like we're way, way higher than normal, than safety, like the safety height.
Yeah.
And that's when like we kind of all like, because I wasn't really freaked out, but the energy of people freaking out was kind of getting me a little bit like I was trying to freak them out more.
It's in the air. It gets in your head.
Yeah. And then what happened from there was, Asa said we should like help people. And then like I forgot what I was going to say. That's unique.
That's okay.
It's gone.
Gone with the wind. Who has the lemon water? Is that you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you want some?
No. That's all you.
For context, we had called Aza's girlfriend, Anna, and just before this podcast, and she said that it would be funny if we all had lemon water and we like made faces when we drank the water. So
and Ruchi was the one in charge of making water. So needless to say, I'm the only one that ended up with lemon water. I'm kind of enjoying that.
I had offered to change it out.
Yeah,
I wasn't like super sadistic.
That's true. Yeah. I'm pretty curious about a few things. One, we were kind of going to do a podcast. You're kind of the reason this whole podcast happened in a certain way. You kind of planted this podcast seed.
Love it.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, like, I think there were some curiosities and some areas you wanted to delve into. So I just want to give space to that and then anything in that way. And also just curious about your kind of insights. You've had this 5-day journey in the woods. To me, the woods can be some of the most like insight providing, peace providing, depth providing times that I've had. So I'm curious what you're coming back with.
Yeah, let's do one into the other. I'll start with like my perspective, and then I'd love to hear both of yours, really. You know, I wish I could.
I just want to interrupt. You have such a good podcast voice.
Yeah, you do.
It's incredible. It's really incredible.
Thanks, guys. I was a YouTuber for a while. So
Whoa.
this is a practice paying off. I'd love to say I had some like huge spiritual awakening. I did not. You know, it wasn't everything I hoped it to be, which I think is my fault for putting expectations on it. You know, being like, I want to learn this. I don't know if it ever works out like that. But I do think I got really lucky, and it was this weird coincidence where I'm going into it hoping to gain some more knowledge of things that are currently beyond my comprehension. And yeah, there's these weird coincidences. Like you guys dropped me off alone, and I was sat there alone. And then pretty much soon after, this guy like broke his ankle. So I kind of walked him over to like a boat that he was going to take to leave. And there was a guy who watched both of those things, like you dropping me off and then me helping this guy. And I guess he felt like a strange connection to me. He said like, that guy, like I want to talk to. So then this random dude I've never seen before, his name is Mason, which is really interesting because my last name is Mason. He came over to me and we just talked for like hours and hours for like a couple of these days. And he's this guy who's gone through a lot of what I think I might be going through. Like he's gone through this journey of spirituality and researching different religions like Buddhism, Taoism, and all that interesting stuff. And we had some really good conversations. A lot of what he was saying, I don't think I can grasp to the meaning that he said them in. But the main message that he told me, and I really like it, is like he said it like 12 times. He said, just enjoy the journey, man. You know, and like there's no, like I can't like tell you the answers right now, but the journey to learning those answers is equally as important as knowing in the end too. And I thought that was really cool. And he kept saying, it was just like, enjoy the journey, man. The journey's so full of life and it's so fun and it's so important. And I think that gives me a different perspective in a way, because I'm now a little more okay with just kind of being lost. Because I'm so lost. I got to be honest, guys. Like in the grand scheme of things, like I know so little.
Yeah.
But I really liked his perspective, and it just seemed like an odd timing on a remote island on the most remote beach there is, which takes a 12-mile hike to get to. There's just this guy who, you know, came over of his own free will, and we talked about some of the things I was curious with, and I thought that was super cool. Yeah, no grand awakenings on my part. It was more of like a seeing how things are connected beyond what I was more aware of. Because even he said it was when you start going down this sort of path, like you kind of get drawn to other people who think in that way or sort of feel some that way. It's like almost like magnets. I think that was an example of it, which was really cool. My questions for you were always very broad, and I don't know how to say it. But when I look at you, I just feel like you know a lot of things. Like from the first day, like that was just my insight. I was like, this guy has like lived and has probably tried a lot of different things and different ways of life. And like, I really feel like you have knowledge and somewhere in you that I kind of hope to like, I aspire to know one day. And it's kind of hard to be like, I want to pry that out of you. But something that I would love to know, and it'll be a super broad topic, and then you can like say whatever, either you can say whatever you want, is how are you so consistently happy? I really want to be like happy, like that's my number one goal in life. I just really want to be happy, and it's so complicated. And I'm just wondering if either of you have any sort of anything to say on that matter. I know it's kind of complicated, so no worries.
Interesting. I mean, I'm kind of curious Well, like, where do you see your evidence of my happiness? I'm just curious why. Yeah, why you? Yeah, or like what kind of is happiness in a certain way?
I don't know if I can say exactly where I see it in you, because I don't know for sure if it is there or not. That's sort of an assumption just from the life you've lived. But I think I've now lived enough of my life where I can sort of have a better idea of when I'm genuinely happy and when it's more of like a facade put on just for like, because that's how life goes. Um, and it's interesting because it just, if like, it's going to sound super simple, but it feels so good to be happy, you know, to be genuinely comfortable with the people around you and to be just enjoying life to its fullest. Like that is the essence of what life is about, as far as I can say so far. I just like, is there like a secret to getting that? I don't know.
So not to pick semantic thing, but I feel like what you're talking about to me, I think of as more peace, kind of, or like contentment, maybe. And I definitely feel like I fluctuate in and out of that state. Yeah, I like almost anytime someone's like puts me on a pedestal of like, things, I like immediately need to be like, I definitely don't know things. And like I feel like I really am learning so much in each moment. And honestly, anytime that I think like if I'm putting on some sort of persona that like is pretending that I know things, I kind of hope someone will just like slap me because that's one of the easiest ways I feel like to distance me from like the magical awe of the world that I feel like so much lightness and play and beauty can come from. So, yeah, I don't know really. I feel like I've just always had a disposition towards life of like of curiosity. And I think one thing that I will say is that I did a yin yoga class one time, and we could probably kind of do it right now if you guys want to do a strange exercise.
Yeah.
So we were sitting on our feet, but here, go like this to your fingers to a place like so. Bend them back. It's probably good for your fingers to a place that's like kind of uncomfortable, right? And then just close your eyes and just like notice the sensation and notice like what your mind is saying. And then what you can kind of do is just if you get really curious about the sensation, you'll notice that actually the pain can kind of disappear and it just turns into like this sensation soup. And that like little thing right there to me has been such a like powerful lesson in um in resistance because basically what and I like went to Bali. It's like such a cliche thing. Went to Bali, was in a yin yoga class, and the teacher like was having us do this thing, and they were like, focus on the sensation, like get out of your story of it, and just like see what it is. And that kind of like removes your mental resistance to it. And I feel like life is just happening. Like everything, like you are a river of life. You are in a river of life. Like life is just lifing. And you can have a lot of different orientations to lifing the same way you can have a lot of orientations to yourself floating down a river. And I feel like one of curiosity and of openness and of kind of non-resistance to a certain extent. But then again, that's like the balance to me of the masculine and the feminine. It's like to what extent am I going to have an intention and a direction versus just let life fully life around me and like be fully open in each moment to whatever is happening. And so to me, I feel like a lot of the peace that I have felt in those states have come from being like, whoa, I'm lifing. I'm like, that's another thing is like, I didn't make me. I just kind of came into this like body and like with these predispositions and like here I am like looking at these hands and I didn't really do this. And so that kind of allows more curiosity of the river of like your own experience too. So I think that would be my soapbox around why I generally feel fairly peaceful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think that was a great answer. I fear I just don't have the conclusions that I hope to have. You know,
Wait, why do you want conclusions? Like I so see where that guy was coming from. Like why what like what are you hoping for at the end of this rainbow of understanding?
I think the final hope is like the cliche of fully knowing who I am. That's like really a goal of mine these days, and sort of just like understanding how I work and all the complexities of my stupid human brain. You know, like I'll just be mad sometimes for like no reason, and it's just like so upsetting to me. Like I don't even care that much about whatever's going on. Like what's going on with that, and like have better control over those sensations, I guess, would be cool.
There are definitely some genuinely bad feelings, but I hate the word happy. I hate the word happy. I feel like it's overused and like it's been like ringed out because people have put so much on it, and then people try to circumvent that by like wrapping that word with bliss, like contentment, peace, etc. Not
No, it's cool,
but I just don't think there's a way to say it. I don't even know what it means to say I'm happy or like I want to be happy or like find your happiness or like follow your bliss. I don't even know what those things mean, you know? To me, everything is meant to be experienced. There's definitely some really bad feelings though. But in the context of life longer than that moment, even those feelings and sensations can be something else.
I'm curious, like what would you guys wish for the world? Like if you could just wish anything for the world to get to what is that?
It's a tough question.
I don't even know that I'm selfless enough to have an answer. I don't even know that I'm.
So I guess maybe then what would you wish for yourself?
What would I wish about the world for myself? Maybe.
Sure.
It all ties in. Yeah. Me personally, just to give you a second, I've had some really good talks the past few days while I was in the middle of nowhere with some random people on the beach. And I think it would be so cool if I don't really think it's going to happen. I'm a pessimist about it, but I think it would be so cool if we could preserve the earth better. Like I'm looking up at these stars and these mountains, and it's so like tremendously beautiful, like beyond anything. Like it's just gorgeous, and the fire and how it all works so serenely together. And it's just I'd love for my grandkids and such to be able to experience all the wonder. Like I've been really lucky enough to travel and see some amazing things, and I just feel like the path we're going down, my youngers just may never see that, which is kind of a horrendous thought for me. So if everyone could do better and I could do better in that, like I think that'd be super cool.
I've only ever wanted to kind of conquer things around me or like control things around me. I've never really wanted. So I guess I think I maybe want the world to accommodate me, which is kind of nasty to say out loud, but it's kind of all I've chased. But I also want conflict in a sense. I want the world to like create some conflict for me so I can go through it. But I want there to be like happy endings in the end. I want there to be like movies have like conflicts and such, and like the main characters go through this like these situations that come out of them and they experience all these things, and it's just like this like I think maybe I just want the world to be like a movie for me.
I feel like you're just more honest than everyone else. I think that's probably a more common thought than, and you villainize it a bit in your head because it is.
I do. I feel like I have a lot of those similar things I just say and get guilty about saying. And then like am aware that it's not rational or not even something that I consider me at my ultimate intelligence to have as a thought in my head, but I like plug my ears and just soldier through for some odd reason. And yeah, I don't know why that is. Because I really consider I think I would talk. This is actually really interesting. I talked to you once. Do you remember we had this insane conversation about what would someone do if they were at the ultimate intelligence? What would they decide to do? Like, could you imagine if there was so they were beyond emotion, beyond anger, beyond pain, beyond shame, beyond anything? What would they decide to do? They wouldn't conquer things. They don't have an ego. They're not stupid like that. They're not maybe like they're not monkeys. Like me and you are essentially animals. We have like primal desires. We have brains that like I like to say this thing of like our software is the same as it was when we were tribesmen, when we hunted and killed. And that's the same brains that we have now. We have the same urges and the same proclivities enforced on us by our biologies. And so what would an ultimate intelligence without that do? Would they even do anything? Like when I think about the reasons for me doing things, literally any action, it's all something that was stimulated by my biology in some sense. Hunger or desire for status or sexual desire, anything. Everything I do is stimulated by my biology. And without that, I don't know what an intelligence without that would do. And I feel like that's where we're headed in a sense. In a sense where like humans are using technology to kind of cut away at our biology. And the end of that might, because I wonder why one theory I have, why aliens have never come, we don't really know about it. They're not like very present in our lives. It might be because when things get to a certain intelligence, they just realize that they just don't do anything. That's like a scary thought to me. Like once you get to a certain intelligence, or like once like intelligent beings reach that level of like kind of abandoning monkeyness, they just do nothing. And I remember you said one thing once to me, Asa, of like maybe the most authentic expression of yourself is just you turning into mush. And that kind of made me think back to the same thing. Like, what would you do at that peak of intelligence? What would anything do?
The way you worded it when we had this discussion, I actually couldn't get over it for like a full night. It was like if you take away joy and sadness and all those emotions, then you're left with apathy. But then if you take away the apathy, what is there? And I could never find an answer. Like I was really searching all night.
Yeah. That came from something very similar to what you said earlier, Asa, about kind of about basically it originated from I had this obsession with cold baths when I first got to Kauai. And when I first got in a cold bath, I kind of could not be there for like more than like 5 or 10 seconds. I started hyperventilating, got out. It was just too cold. And then I started going every morning at like 6 a.m. And one time Asa was there and he was like, do you want to learn like how to make this not a hard thing? And I was like, sure. And he told me just the same thing as he with the exercise with the bending your hand back. View it as a sensation. Don't label it as good or bad. And in my mind later, I had the question of, and it worked. Like I got in the cold bath. I just decided to experience it fully and not label it as, okay, this is pain. And it being pain stopped, but it being didn't stop. And that was my experience with that. And afterwards, I wondered if you strip away good and bad, would life just become neutral and bland? And then I realized that neutral and bland is also a label. So if you strip off good and bad, and then you strip off neutral and bland, then what is life? Then what is experience? What is that experience that you've just stripped away everything from? And it's not, it might just be nonverbal. It might just be just this thing that you just experience. It might just be this, can't really have words for it.
I don't really know. And I kind of think that I do know too, which is that I feel like this is what like the Buddhas and everyone like when you totally strip away the like mind and the attachment to the mind, then it feels like what's left is like you're just there's no more separation in a certain way, like between there's no more like you are not isolating yourself from your reality with like that's largely what the mind is doing. And that's kind of what we're doing through these words right now. We're kind of like holding each other, we're like, okay, here's this energy that is Ruchi, and I'm like holding you at bay in a certain way through my understanding of you and through these words. We're like, interacting, but also maintaining our separation. And I feel like abandoning the mind in a certain way feels like you kind of just merge with the experience of life. And I feel like that's kind of happened to me a couple times. Like, I'm not saying I was enlightened or whatever. I'm saying I had a few experiences in which I felt like a lot of that did just kind of like away. And it, to me, in those moments felt anything but bland. It felt like so much more like, you're just like so much more in life in a certain way. It's just so everything it's just kind of like happening in this beautiful way. But it's also, yeah. And so that's kind of my sense of it, but it's also then the mind trying to articulate this state, that maybe the key, it's kind of impossible. It's like a Zen koan or something.
Even when you talk about it, like when you say it's beautiful,
right? Exactly.
It's just like
another
cliche
label.
It's another label, and it's like what? Yeah, it's like beyond all of that.
Yeah,
it's like chipped away beyond everything.
Eckhart has a great quote where he says, "Words are just stepping stones to understanding, to be left behind as quickly as possible." I love that.
But what would that thing in that state do? What action would it take? Would it ever be motivated to do?
I don't know. To me, it's kind of like asking, like, how would the rock in the river, what would it do? I think it would really depend on a lot of forces,
It would just be this thing that's bounced around by its environment. It's like it moves and rights itself.
And I don't know if it necessarily means that it has no. I don't think it means that it has no will. I don't know. To me, it's like the best thing you can point to is like what have these quote unquote enlightened beings that have like come through our sphere ended up doing. That's like people like Buddha and Jesus and other folks. I don't know.
I don't have a whole lot to say on that because I find it hard to contemplate the things that are just like too far out of our even like existence. Working towards that. If we can change the question, or if you guys are fully down on that, I'd love to know for both of you what motivates you on a day-to-day life or on like a larger scale.
Yeah, motivation is a really interesting, complicated thing for me.
Can be tied with ego a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Me and my brother we've never had a clarity on how much of our motivation is manufactured. Because I think we might have a unique ability to convince people of things that's not limited to other people. So I talk a little bit about this fantasy of a younger me or past self locking doors in my mind that I can't get past, and like I just can't. And it's like a fantasy of my past self having done something to me, some kind of strange, complicated psychological ritual, like mental thing that made me unable to walk down certain paths in my mind. And that might be it might be me manufacturing myself in a way. It might be me deciding what things to be in order to, I don't know what the motivation of that past self would even be. What is the purpose of that? But it's just a weird thought that I have sometimes because I notice this like plugging of ears and soldiering through. I'm like, why? And that's like my weird fantasy theory around it.
I think I've had a lot of different motivations over time. I feel like probably a lot of it is kind of just upholding who I think I am. So I think I'm an entrepreneur. So I try to entrepreneur and try to prove to other people that I entrepreneur well or that I can entrepreneur. Yeah, I mean, I like part of me like really wants to like come out in a certain way and be like, there are so many egoic motivations that I have. And yeah, very much so. And to this day, like part of this CoDream thing, I'm sure is around like feeling powerful, feeling important, feeling feeling like I matter, feeling like I'm good. I feel like, and it's interesting because a lot of these motivations for me trace back. If it's always fascinating to be like, okay, why are you motivated by that? And like a lot of it is like a fear of being bad, and then like, why am I afraid of that? And like probably because I'm afraid of being rejected by people, afraid of being ostracized in some way, afraid of being alone. And so those are all pieces of motivation that I really want to speak because there are other motivations too that are like probably kind of sweeter and more altruistic and whatnot, but I don't want to like completely negate the like dark, gnarly side too. I'd say the other motivations that I probably have are around, self-exploration, and kind of self-actualization, and doing that in the context of other people's self-actualization. Like it's so cool for myself to come alive and to get to watch other people come alive. And I after like kind of doing the Go Guardian thing and feeling like I was successful, there's kind of been this big like existential like, okay, what, like, am I done? Like, do I do I just kind of like hang up my coat and be like, all right, well, I guess I lived, I did the thing, and so I've had some like pretty deep, kind of dark, confusing things there. And CoDream kind of partially came out of that, of just like, okay, what would I want to do? I was basically just like, what would I want to do if I died? And I was like, well, like, what would I do with any leftover money? And one of the options was like, okay, maybe I could like burn it, so it could just kind of like go back to everyone pro rata in a certain way, because that's kind of what, it's interesting how you can do that. And then I was like, or I could like kind of create some sort of manifesto type thing and like try to get people to like make something like CoDream happen, basically. And so, yeah, I do actually feel like my current path does feel pretty aligned with like both the kind of altruistic side of my motivation and drive, and some of the like kind of darker, I don't know, just more unconscious, like I just want to feel like a powerful being parts as well. And yeah, I'm doing my best to just like kind of let it all be there. Yeah. Love the question. What do you feel like your answer would be?
I like the two different answers. Those both very separate but like valid opinions. I find that these days, and it's really annoying, my motivation is so dependent on other people, like to the point where it's like, what am I even doing? And I'm aware of it, which I guess is a first step, but it like kind of sucks. Like, I feel like so much of what I do is just like in hopes that like someone will see it, even if it's like the smallest, like silliest thing. Which kind of blows. Like today I was doing this hike, and for some reason in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna do it really fast.
Yeah.
And and that was different because I was with no one. There was no one to like provide validation. So I didn't really know what, like the whole time I was like, why am I doing this? Like I'm questioning it, and I still don't really know. But like that was one of the first things in a while I've done those purely like for myself. Like I didn't know I would say that on this podcast. Like in the moment, that was just me being like, I'm gonna do it in 5 hours in like these random bad shoes. Yeah, I really wish I could step away from that. I guess it all comes back to validation and like, it's so stupid.
It's like weird relationship we have with other people in our minds. I almost think like when you know someone well, or even if you just have a general perception of someone, you can conjure I can conjure an Aza in my mind. I can make like a Ruchi Aza, because the Ruchi Aza is not Aza. Like Aza is something different that I can never touch. There's like this wall between me and every other mind, because we can't ever we can only just vibrate into the air these like weird distilled forms of our thoughts that are kind of fractured, and maybe hope that something can get into you. But yeah, we can kind of create these weird ghosts in our mind and have them act out things in our mind, and kind of look at which movie scenes we enjoy. When Asa says good job, is that the better movie scene than when Asa looks like he's kind of disgusted with what you're doing? Like, what is the movie scene that's the best, in a way? And like, okay, which one? That one's best. Oh, that one looks really good. How do I make that happen? Wouldn't it be so cool to like live that?
That's interesting.
One time can I say a quick thing?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't really know, but there was I've gotten into like different personality things. Like there's Myers-Briggs, I got like super into that when I was at CoGuardian. And then there's human design. I got into that when I was in my spiritual days and whatnot. And one of them, I forget which, but it was basically like based on, I don't know if it was my stars or my answer to these questions or what, but it's basically like, you really are not supposed to be a teacher. You're more supposed to lead by example in a certain way. But if you do have one thing to teach, it's to help other people not give a fuck what other people think about them. So don't give a fuck what other people think about you.
So hard.
Including me too. And that's yeah. And
It's
I'm-
hard not to give a fuck what people think
So
about you.
hard.
It's so
Yeah.
hard. It's so hard.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Why?
so-
Why? Like, what are you actually afraid of?
It's a good question. I think that the current version of Aaron has just fully been created by me trial and erroring everything. And then when I say something and people laugh, I'll be like, all right, hell yeah.
More of that.
And that just like enters the system that is me. So then over like 19 years, it's just been purely through other people that I've chosen who to be. Yeah. It's like, okay, I will like myself today because I made this whole group laugh, and that's sick. And I just feel like that's how I've created who I am, is just through other people's opinions, because I assume they're right and I don't know anything. So then I still value that, even if it sucks. I don't know.
So I guess, like, where do you want to go from that awareness? Like, where, because it's such a powerful awareness to have.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And that's just, yeah, like, what do you want your next step on this stone down this river to be?
I think it would be really nice to take a step back from that, because it's just been how I've been for so long now. And it's just so, I care so much about other people's opinions. I think it'd be I feel like it'd be so good for my soul if I could just like care less. I don't know how to do that at all. It seems unfathomable at this point in my life, but like, it would be cool if I could do something alone in my room and be like, damn, that was cool. And just like really back myself up over it without having to hear anyone say any words. So I guess the next step is just figuring my shit out.
If I could give one piece of advice there, right after I say don't be a teacher, my advice would be, don't polarize yourself against that part of yourself that cares what other people think. Like, the best way out is, honestly, it's kind of like the sensation thing. You have to just like really be with that part of yourself and like not turn it into this bad thing, but just be like, oh wow, look, there's Aaron caring what people think. Like, of course, like, that makes so much sense. That is so human. Like, yeah, and not like, oh fuck, I did it. Oh no, I'm like trapped in the, and like, because you can polarize yourself both ways, like forward and against. You can be like, I am that, I care about what or you can be like, oh, I hate this about me. And you can, in either way, you're creating its existence through the energy that you're giving it, for or against it, in a certain way. But if you can just kind of like let it be, but let it be like through your awareness. Like when you got into that cold plunge, you weren't like ignoring the sensations. You weren't just like, no. You're like, you're like full. No, I'm going to actually fully be with this, whatever's happening. And yeah, I feel like that is a really powerful path towards like, letting these parts of yourself kind of unfurl. It's kind of this theory of like, love is what lets you unfurl. And if you can love that part of yourself, not through judgment of like, this is a good part of me, but just through like letting it fully be, just like a grandmotherly hug, not like you're good or you're bad, just like you are, and like you're here, and like that's all good. Really cool stuff right there.
It's super interesting, because I guess that part of me isn't innately good or bad. Because just thinking back, if I never listened to the opinions of others and didn't go through that whole thing of just basing myself off who's around me, like I would probably be weird right now, you know?
Mm.
Society sort of states that like this is kind of the ideal type of human,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and there's like a few different variations, but like if you're like one of these people, like that's how you want to be social, you want to be like
Mm-hmm.
confident, like these are the things you should be. So I guess if I never was so judgmental of myself, I wouldn't be semi-normal as I think I am now.
Sure.
So yeah, some weird balance in there, the middle way
Mm.
of sorts.
I like that concept of conjuring people in your mind. And then I feel like this is just like an intuition thing. There's like no factual basis to this, but I kind of feel like I can step into the people I can slightly create. Imagine what they would feel as if I were them about me. And then that reflection is like experienced weirdly by me. And I have to like subscribe to whatever makes them think good.
Do you know them enough to be able to do that? You have to really
Anyone,
know
even just like an image of someone, you can kind of like start attaching things to it in your mind, and then all of a sudden there's like this full persona. But obviously they're like empty inside, but like there's something I feel like you can step into this like notion of like stepping into a different person in your mind that you've created.
What's the like why? Like why would you do that?
Why would you do that? It's just something that just happens.
I guess maybe the question is like, why do you want to give that process attention?
Maybe it stems from like confusion or like when I see someone, there's always this wall between minds, and you can never get to the point of like, I understand you. And you're always just kind of guessing. And that's the guessing. That's like your attempt to understand them. But then whatever you kind of create about them for yourself also has the potential to like freak you out and make you do things.
But doesn't it feel so good when you
Detach.
I was gonna say when you have a person that you don't need to create that persona for. Like when there's someone you
true.
genuinely understand, or then they understand you. Like they can see beyond the words you say and like read all the little between the lines of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like there's some people that I feel like they can kind of see me more than I can see me. And then I think those are like the best type of people. You don't have to guess what they're thinking. They just are. Like, do you have anyone in your life like that?
Yeah. I've met a lot of people here like that.
It's a great place. Come to CoDream.
For real.
For real. As this is my last day, but you should come to CoDream. It's chill here. It's great here.
I am kind of curious, like exit interview style, like what this experience has been in the context of your life.
I think the thing that will actually stick, because we did lots of cool stuff and my job was cool and all that, but what's actually going to stick is being part of an environment that's so open to discuss things like this is really new to me. Especially grown up like religious in the kind of Christianity sense. It's just kind
But
of
doesn't it
weird.
get almost exhausting? I remember there was this one moment where I was like uniquely aware that there were so many deep conversations happening around me. And I was like, it felt like there were multiple sinkholes around me. It felt like people were just drowning in each other
Hmm.
in weird ways. I don't know if it's entirely productive, even in the context of the pursuit of happiness or like bliss or whatever those words are, to be in that for a long time and to just consistently be in that. I just felt like I had this weird intuition that like something was deeply wrong with people having massively deep conversations all the time around me. It felt like literally the image I had was like sinkholes of like people going down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like a balance has got to be there for sure, of course.
Yeah.
If this is all you talk about all day, then for sure that
I think
goes to
openness
some-
is good, but yeah, you can get lost in that stuff, I think. And just like deeply confused. And you can just get deeply confused together.
It's true. It's like trauma bond.
Yeah, it's like
It's like trauma bonding and like existential doubt.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is.
I'm
And it's
sure there
not
is
good.
that.
It's not always good. You know?
But some of it
Sometimes you
is
can
so
just make
good.
a sandwich and like eat it.
I think people are like pretty starved for that in a certain way because a lot of life, like, or a lot of people aren't comfortable, I think, going to those places. And so people are get here and they're like, wait, we can talk about this shit? Like, okay, cool. I'm also confused about what this whole life thing is. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, me too. But then I think, yeah, you can definitely, just get into these weird loops. And yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Totally.
Maybe that's the reason. Maybe people come here and it's their first time, like me, in like a super open environment. So then it kind of sways over that line a little too far, possibly for you. And to that
I don't
point,
know what I even mean by like a line or something like to like cross. I don't know. I don't know. It was just this one moment. I had this weird intuition.
yeah.
I don't even know whether I don't know if it's as bad as I'm making it seem. If it's like this like bad thing or something you gotta like find a balance with. I don't know.
It reminds me a lot of this moment when I was in Bali. And in Bali, I like didn't really know anyone. So I was just like meditating a lot and just like so aware of my thoughts. Probably like the most aware of my thoughts. Almost to a point that I like kind of thought I was going crazy because they were like so loud in a certain way. And I was so just like present to them. I was very present. And in a certain way, I could like get anything that I wanted. And being like a guy in his 20s, mostly what I wanted was like get with girls. And so I would kind of like, I really felt like I was manifesting a lot. And it was a really powerful time. And also I felt there was a part of me that was so judgmental about how everyone was basically just talking about presence and talking about these states that it felt like the truth of the state was worthless. The truth of the state was beyond thought. And everyone was just like dancing.
I'm getting a call.
It's probably his brother. Really?
So how do your mom?
Should I accept it? I don't even know.
I don't think it'll work.
No, it's okay. Later.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom. We'll be done soon. Yeah, because I just felt like everyone, it's almost like in the sinkhole analogy, everyone was just like dancing around the edge of this thing, but no one was really like comfortable, like quite going there and like really experiencing those states. But they're all like, they're all like kind of just like
talking
about it in this way. I was like, you're all like, it felt so hypocritical.
Yeah.
It like felt really infuriating. Yeah. I don't know. That's what came to mind for me.
Yeah, I think there might have been a little bit of that too. In that moment.
Just when people are learning about that, I don't even know if they can be hypocritical. Like this is like the first time a lot of people are even like aware of.
We're also in like a unique situation that the people that come to CoDream are people that are comfortable with travel.
Yeah.
And people that are kind of, they're like travel is like associated with this like thing. There's like this vibe to people who travel, and this like identity that people just like inhabit. This
For
like
sure, yeah.
semi-spiritual, I'm on a journey thing, and it like that manifests these conversations always, all the time, and sometimes just like
Yeah. Wait, sorry, real fast. That kind of is why, to me, it's so important that this is like not, because I kind of did a thing before that was kind of just like community for the sake of community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of what it turned into, was just like a bunch of hippies all being like, I'm on a journey, I'm healing, let's all heal together, let's all talk about stuff. And it really did just like down into this thing.
I know.
It was so gnarly. And so that, to me, that's like,
totally imagine that.
It's a nice, like the healing and the journey and these conversations are like a nice part of an experience, but it's like not the intention in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I feel like it is so healthy to have an intention around creation, intention around collaboration, and intention around, even a word that feels like very dissonant with our conversation, like micro SaaS startups. What? You can't micro SaaS startups and Jesus and Buddha in the same fucking conversation. Like, no, that's not allowed. But I think it is really, really important to have a direction, and like the healing and these conversations, they'll happen kind of regardless, because we're all inevitably on a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that is a part of existence, and we have the ability to set a direction and set a path and move towards it. And like, that's such a cool balance to get to find. And I'm really happy to feel like actually like that balance is being somewhat achieved.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite on this podcast because we get really existential, it seems.
Yeah.
That might be my fault. No, this is sort of my last hurrah. I want to really get the minds of you two, because oh my God, Reggie, especially, like, I've known that you definitely know some stuff, but I'm just hearing you talk is so interesting, and you have such insight into things I can't even like, you'll say words that I know have meaning, but like I'm not even on the level to like fully know what you're saying, and I think that's sick.
I don't think I even know what I'm saying.
And that's probably fine.
That's even better.
That's even better. Yeah. On just that last topic for a quick sec, just because I think that's really interesting. I actually had a conversation with Zoe the other day, because I think now that I'm just sort of entering this world, I get really excited, and I maybe push it a little bit. I'll like, instead of letting these conversations happen naturally, I'll kind of like, I'll like poke at it. I'll be like, you want to talk about this? Because I kind of always do want to talk about this.
Yeah.
But she sort of said, yeah, what you guys are saying, like, to an extent, like, just kind of chill. Like, they kind of have to happen on their own time for it to be and feel natural. And when you're like forcing it all the time, it can enter that little that pit hole. And I never thought about it until she said it. But like, I feel like that conversation sort of changed how I think about it. Like, I don't want to pry too much into the existence questions if someone like doesn't want to talk about it. Like, it's deep stuff. It shouldn't happen every second of the day. So I don't know. I think she had some cool insight on that.
The existence questions.
Yes. The existence.
Why are we questioning the existence? What the hell are we doing, guys? Jeez.
Passing time.
We can't just make sandwiches.
It's
Because
so
we're
interesting.
hungry?
Okay, I want to just out myself here, like, because I have these thoughts. All right, what happens to me? I'm sitting here and I'm like, ooh, I have a thought about this. I've had an insight about this. There was a time when I knew something related to this, and then I'm like, should I say something? And I'm like, in my head here, over here, I'm listening. I'm like, I don't even know, like, should I, like, and then I kind of try to feel my heart a little bit. I'm like, is my heart saying yes, I should say something? But it's like this really heady process. It's not very present at all. It's very just like, I don't know if I should say something or if I shouldn't say something. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of out myself a little bit because
That's good.
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean.
Yeah.
I totally feel that.
Yeah.
Saying things.
So do you guys want to
Things is
hear
powerful.
my?
Yeah, say yours.
I was on a hike.
I wanted to say people always talk about. I'm sorry. This might be a little bit. People always talk about like following your heart and listening to your heart. Your heart is like this like weird flesh organ pumping like this. It's like not this thing that you can tap in. Like what?
Okay, I think.
Sorry, it makes me slightly like confused and like
Are you familiar with chakras, Ruchi? We got to talk about chakras.
No.
I've heard them mentioned chakras.
All right. The notion is that you have different energy centers in your body. All right. And it kind of runs down. You have your root chakra, and you have a couple chakras that I normally forget about. Something that has to do with your will over here. So then you have your heart chakra. But your heart, like as an energy center, I think
It's just like a seat of emotions, a seat of feeling.
it's like, well, it's kind of in the center. And you can really, I feel, and maybe I'm just totally a high hippie, but I feel like you really can actually like I can feel that energy center sometimes. And it's like, it can get really powerful, and there's a lot to it in a certain way. And you do have to like get kind of quiet and like let all your stories about how it's just a stupid like pumping organ or whatever kind of drift away. And I feel like there is
Something
actually
there.
a lot of power right there. And then you have your throat chakra, and then your third eye, I think, and then your crown chakra. I missed a couple. But that was your hippie education. So yeah, so it's not just like when the hippies are talking about it, and it's not just like the flesh beating organ thing.
I feel that, but it's like, do you remember?
I feel that.
Do you remember?
Fucking hippie.
Do you remember you said one time about there's like some stupid rules that you just get really passionate about for like no reason?
Yeah,
that's one of them.
That was yesterday's podcast.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
There's no but you had an insight you want to share.
Yeah.
Oh, now it feels so separated from the insight, but I'll try to bring us back regardless. I was on a hike. I used to be into going on solo nature walks. Part of my ego is like, oh, I'm cool. I could go alone in nature sometimes. Yeah. Anyways, so I would, on one of these hikes, I was thinking about kind of spiritual development and like my own quest towards like quickly, because it's like wanting to quickly develop, wanting to quickly self-actualize, wanting to quickly discover myself. And I had, because in nature, you have to take shits in the woods.
Sure.
Yeah. And like, there's usually not toilet paper. And for some reason, I had this like thought. I'm like, I kind of feel like spiritual development is kind of like taking a poop. And like, you trying to get yourself to like take a poop faster. Or like when you don't need to take a poop, being like, oh, I'm gonna sit down right now and it's just like kind of pointless and like not really productive. And like this was, very much having to do with like the river of life and like these spiritual developments and awarenesses, like it'll all kind of happen in its own perfect timing. And you trying to like kind of force these insights and be like, oh, I want to understand, or I want to, it's kind of cute in a certain way. It's kind of like you sitting there, but it's not like probably the most productive. Anyways,
that's a good metaphor. I like that a lot, actually. That sort of explains my situation. Just have to let it come, and when it comes, it'll feel better.
Yeah.
Than if you tried to force it all alone.
Oh, totally, yeah.
So, shit in the woods, guys. I guess that's the life lesson.
Yeah.
I want to kind of talk more about that one sensation. I feel like you both brought up at different points in this conversation. You mentioned you were walking the call out trail and you were like, all of a sudden, I want to do this really fast. You mentioned you were like taking these like solo nature walks. I can kind of imagine exactly what those things felt, because there are times when I'm completely alone and then I do things and I'm not sure what that is.
Say more.
So, like, I'll be alone on the beach and I'll dig a hole, find a big tree log thing, drag it there, and put the log inside, put the sand around it, and then treat it like this weird thing.
I see that.
Like, treat it weirdly. Like religion, kind of.
Okay.
It's like weird. And it's the same thing that I feel like you guys know what I'm talking about. You're just like on your own, and then you randomly decide to do things, and those things are treated with this different feeling. There's this different feeling around them, and the products of them are different. They feel different afterwards.
You do it a lot, and I was actually going to ask you like what your reasoning was. So I'm glad we're
I don't
talking.
know.
When you put that huge tree in the sand hole,
I don't know. I do it
didn't
all the
know what was
time.
going on.
I do all the time.
What is that?
I don't know. And I treat it differently. And now I'm probably not going to do that because now it's like this thing that's been talked about. That's this whole thing now.
No, we really
Now
don't.
everyone knows me as this person that puts trees in
Worships
the
a
ground.
tree.
And it's like, oh, that's what you're doing is a odd spiritual thing. And it's like, okay, now it's not. And I'm not going to do that because I know that there's this vibe around it now. I'm just going to like stay away from it. But
You'll
I
find
know
your new thing though. You'll
if
find
I'm
that
on my
nice.
own, like maybe I'm just like can you imagine someone in total completely alone in this completely unfamiliar place, and imagine it's like the jungle, and they take a stick and another stick and they just like put it together and they just like sit there and watch it. Could you imagine that? And they were like so weirdly motivated to do that in this like odd thing, and they just treat it differently. And that's like my concept of like what maybe religion could be, or like how it might have manifested. That specific feeling of being alone and doing a random weird thing from a place that has you have no clarity around the motivation, and then you treat the product differently.
So the motivation, like really no clarity.
Zero.
Just like what is it?
Primal?
You can there's also this weird sense of like my mind sometimes can drift to like what if someone saw this, or like if I was seeing this or something, what would I feel? And there's an interesting feeling you can get when you're watching someone do something totally random because you can attach meaning to it, you know? Odd weird things are vague and abstract. And so you can kind of morph them into having meaning very easily because they don't already have meaning.
Right.
It's like an abstract painting.
Yeah.
You can be like, oh, it's a fire truck, even if it
Yeah.
weird.
Or like you can, if you watch someone kind of act deep and spiritual around something super random, you can choose to be like, that's just like some stupid, crazy guy. Or like you can also sometimes be convinced to be like with him.
Okay, I guess what I want to understand is like, have you had a like spiritual experience where you're like,
No.
Interesting.
I've
Yeah.
never had a spiritual experience. Don't even really know what that would be or what it would mean.
yeah.
But I do odd random things when I'm alone and then
You
treat the
do.
products differently.
I think this might be you dabbling with spirituality. I don't really know.
Because I have those things, but I don't really do them out of spirituality. I'll do it them out of other weird reasons. You know, like my little like I want to go fast today. Like that wasn't because there was no spirituality behind that. That was just
No, but I
your
can
ego
imagine
thing.
your mind alone and then just deciding that and then doing that and there being no one there and you like watching yourself.
Yeah, it is that you
Watching yourself. That's the thing. It's like the you watching yourself kind of a thing.
Sometimes me isn't enough, so I'll just imagine that the whole world is watching on like a big screen. And I'll just be like, okay, everyone's watching this right now, so I better not like make a terrible decision.
Yeah.
That's
I've done that before too.
sometimes my motivation.
Completely alone and then just imagining everybody's watching me. And then
It makes it kind of interesting. I don't know. It kind of spices my life up a bit.
bonkers.
Bonkers stuff, dude. Humans are so weird.
Bonkers.
Like if I'm trying to make the right decision, if there's like
Bonkers.
a lustful thing or something, I'll imagine everyone's watching, and they're like, no. So then I'll be like, no. And that's my reasoning. Like it's shitty, but it's bonkers.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
I used to think, okay, there's like a part of myself. I feel like hopefully we're just delving into weird parts of ourselves that we don't quite understand. Hopefully that's what we're doing because I'm not to do. Yeah, there's a part of me that felt like I was really good at getting in other people's heads. I guess it's kind of exactly what you're talking about. But I felt like I could understand people's emotions kind of and I would use it to like basically to get what I wanted. I would like use it as this thing to be like, okay, I'm like, and it was almost like a spiritual, it was almost like a metaphysical, like I would almost like travel in this weird way into their reality. I would like imagine myself in their reality and like experiencing me kind of. And it was, I think I kind of stopped doing it. I don't know why. It could have been kind of through my own like arrogance and not feeling like I needed to like kind of do that or something. But yeah, it was a pretty bizarre, and I also feel like my other little story around it, or like little glimpse of understanding of it, is that I feel like it made me good at like understanding users. I feel like that was kind of the process I did in really early Go Guardian days to understand to like, and it was almost like I had to kind of like give up a piece of myself to do it. It sounds very Voldemorty. Um, and I would like go and kind of inhabit this other experience, and then be able to kind of make decisions about my own actions based on that experience, whether or not there's any like reality. I will say it like did work.
It did work.
It did work, kind of, yeah, almost without fail. I think but it was a kind of intense. It was kind of a scary thing to do for some reason, and I very much haven't done it in like probably like 10 years or something. Anyways, that's a weird part of me that I'm just not really too sure about and haven't interacted with.
Like it almost sounds like you're like detaching from
Yeah.
you for like a moment in time,
Yeah,
and then like seeing through someone else's eyes, which is funky.
yeah,
What's up with that?
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, that seeing through other people's eyes unlocked like a memory in my mind of basically I went to India right between my sophomore and junior years of high school. And that was a weird time for a lot of reasons. But I was there, and I feel like you can convince yourself of things and then believe them, and it's weird. And that was one thing I kind of, very similar kind of, that I looked at people and just very deeply felt that I could kind of, I almost convinced myself I could become that person by looking at them.
Hmm.
And looking back, I'm not sure if that's, I think truthfully, it might just be me wanting some kind of special skill for myself.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like my thing, I don't know, but there's a certain part of like these things where it does require a level of belief, and the human mind is always going to be so skeptical.
Yeah.
And like my friend Mingmar, the guy that we were talking about yesterday, that's like from Nepal and has these kind of like crazy Tibetan lineage, and like some of the stuff he talks about that like is possible that humans can do and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I like to believe that there's just like much more that we're capable of.
Mm.
And yeah, I feel like some of my experiences have very much reinforced that belief. And some of the stories of like people that I trust deeply, even like Matt, some of Matt's stories around, yeah, I'll let him tell the stories if he chooses to. But yeah, different forms of like interacting with consciousness in cool ways. And yeah, it just feels like there's kind of a lot more than there's a lot more to the human experience that we can't really like see or understand in this like modus operandi normal frame of mental reasoning that we are in. And it feels like there is a lot that can be accessed, yeah, beyond that.
I feel like I've stepped into doubt more recently. And my reaction to that is immediately nonsense. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it's also hypocritical of me to say that I've stepped into doubt more, because there's all kinds of crazy, stupid, irrational things that I do. And like I'm all of a sudden at this like super logical, hyper logical, rational person. And it's not true at all. I'm like insanely hypocritical. I used to think that I was scared to dive into my mind because I know that I would encounter this like web of hypocrisy and just get tangled in it and just be like disgusted at like how inconsistent it all is. And this is like this whole like house of cards. It's like, how are you so? If I really approached it with this rational mind and pieced together, I'd be like, you know,
Yeah.
and
I love your process, just so you know, of like you untangling your mind and you wanting to be seen in these different hypocrisies. I think it's super cool. I feel like I've just been like witnessing it more and more and more.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fascinating. It is wildly honest, and maybe maybe we were talking about the vulnerability being a front in itself, and who the
Yeah.
hell knows. But
true.
I think it's super cool, and for me, it like just kind of shines light on my own inner hypocrisy and my own inner truths, and like how it's I really appreciate the process.
Well,
Hmm.
unless there are any other super questions we want to ask, I think could be the time. I'd love to see everyone a little bit more before
Mm,
my atoms vanish into existence.
mhm.
So if we're
God, I want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
That I think the whole CoDream group was going through this like weird conflict around household chores at one point. And that escalated into this very odd thing where Asa had us all do this exercise of sorts where we did this thing called a 3-breath hug. And on the first, I don't really care about the other breaths, but on the first, you hug someone and and you have take 3 deep breaths. And the other 2 breaths don't really matter to me. But the first breath, you really bring into your mind that this person you're hugging is gonna die. And that every time I did that day, it was so rough. It was so, so rough. If you really bring into your mind that this person's gonna die,
yeah.
it's so rough.
It's hard to conceptualize because I know you're going I know you're gonna die, and I can say
Yeah.
that, and that's like chill. But
Yeah,
like,
but then if you really, especially when you're
really,
hugging someone, you're like, oh my God. And you're just like this, like, you're almost like this, like, pity that's not even yours. It's like, oh God, someday this person I'm holding is gonna die, just not exist. And people have different stories around. That's one thing. There was a person here that was very strongly Christian before at CoDream, and yeah, I would say things like that, and he'd be like, "Well, we just go to heaven," and I'd be like, "Oh shit, yeah, you're right." How could I forgot? It's like there's different opinions on what death is, but to me, it's like I'm not a atheist or like a believer in God or anything. I'm just what I am is like an I don't knower, if that's a thing to be. I'm like I have no idea what is gonna happen, but to me, it's this thing that's like that. What's most likely to me is that just like you just don't exist, and it's like, and I'm like, oh holy shit, holding these people thinking about that, and yeah, all the other dreamers are gonna one day die. So I do fully support your mission to go and connect with these people, maybe one last time.
yeah, I think time is our most valuable
Yeah.
resource. So gotta spend it wisely.
Yeah.
Just I mean, yeah, just in the spirit of you leaving, I just want to say a couple quick things. I have no plan. I think you're an incredible human. I think you're curiosity and your openness to your own process is so rad. And not to quote that other dude, but I really do hope you enjoy the journey, because I don't really think, like, you don't really get anywhere in a certain way. And if you do, like, I hope, there's these quotes like, as soon as you meet the Buddha, kill the Buddha. Like, as soon as you think you have it figured out, that's like the time to like get it unfigured out again. So I hope you can continue to ask these questions. I think it's like, yeah, it's really cool and really, beautiful. And yeah, you're also great at what you do too in the physical world, which is awesome. And you're just like a really sweet person to be around. And I hope you don't take any of this as like pressure to be any more a certain way or not a certain way. So yeah. And you're just like, how old are you?
19.
He's 19, y'all. I don't know if there is a y'all to this, but he's 19. Like this, like that's so exciting that you get to continue to ask these questions and explore this, and like, holy guacamole.
Super exciting.
So excited.
I'm hyped.
I love you, bro.
I love you guys.
You're an awesome bunkmate. You're so cool to be around. Mr. Ratatouille, man. You do look like the guy from Ratatouille. Just to say.
I really appreciate you guys. It's been sick. It's been a really good experience. Truly the best work I could have ever even imagined, which is kind of crazy. Our random talks on the floor when you just play one guitar string and you don't stop are really weird, and I love it. You just really like the E string that night, and I just like, that's fuck yeah, dude. It's a good string. Those are great conversations, and I will always remember that, honestly.
Me too. Me too.
And it turns out that Aaron's a wildly talented musician too, that writes these
Wildly.
insane songs.
Yeah.
So please do the thing that you're supposed to do. Like, don't just forget about that.
I love music, and maybe it could be a thing one day. Like, that'd be so cool.
It is already a thing. The world is waiting for you to tell them about it.
Shucks, guys. All right, there's too much kindness in the air now. We have to like punch each other or something.
We could do that. I'm gonna start. Hey, if you don't read me, I'm just start. Going cool.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And have a great day.
Bittersweet. Love you, bro.
See you later. Just starts knocking each other out.